I've got a great idea. Why don't I make it gold? What's wrong with me? This thing will probably never work. Oh! You should probably just ignore this. Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. And welcome once again to Secret Origins Month. Now it's time to talk about the origins of a super team. I decided to go the X-Men instead of the Fantastic Four because the X-Men have appeared a couple of times already on the show, so those of you less familiar with comic characters should hopefully get a better idea of who I'm talking about with these people. The X-Men were once again the product of the mind of Stan Lee, this time working with Jack Kirby on the premise. When conceived, they were basically just another super team book, though in this case Lee once again attached the idea of them being young people that the audience could identify with. This time, their mutations were a way for them to feel isolated from others, i.e. alienated because they were different. Another reason why he came up with the X-Men was because, well, Lee was running out of ideas for how superheroes got their powers. Let's face it, radiation may be a method of gaining superpowers, but there are only so many excuses one could have about why someone was standing next to reactors. As such, Lee was happy that he could just use the mutation angle as the explanation for superpowers. So there you have it. The X-Men came about because Stan Lee was lazy. Mind you, from a scientific perspective, this kind of thing doesn't even resemble anything plausible, but hey, this is the same guy who gave us Nightcat. Originally, Stan Lee actually wanted to call the book The Mutants, or according to Wikipedia, The Merry Mutants. Fortunately, Marvel's publisher Mark Goodman put the kibosh on that, since the name doesn't exactly have staying power and no one would understand it from just glancing at it. Well, the guy might have been wrong about Spider-Man, but at least he knows names. Instead, Lee went with X-Men because they had something extra about them. You know, with Stan Lee, you really sometimes can't tell when he's kidding or when he's dead serious. And really, you don't want to know. Point is, let's dig into the first story of the Merry Mutants, the X-Men #1. Where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a party hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara. Robots, Amazon and trucks, Linkara. This comic sucks, Linkara. Unlike the last few origin stories, X-Men started off with its own title and a full story. Our cover today is crowded but well placed. There are 4 taglines on this thing, but they're all positioned so they don't interrupt the action. The strangest superheroes of all! I mean, yellow and black uniforms, who wears that? In the sensational Fantastic Four style. In that there are more than 4 heroes, and they were born with their powers instead of gaining them by accident, and really they have nothing to do with the Fantastic Four. I love how all of this is put together. We have 4 superheroes attacking Magneto, well 5, but Jean Grey's just wobbling back there on the uneven ground, who is drawn in a way so that he looks like he's got devil horns and is painted red. The Beast is swinging down from somewhere. Cyclops is blasting Magneto with his laser eyes, though how Magneto is stopping them is another matter for scientists to debate over. Angel is carrying what looks like a bazooka, and doing a poor job of it since he looks like he's going to topple over. And finally there's Iceman.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Who is throwing snowballs. Yes, the strangest superheroes of all. Some fight crime with advanced technology, some with laser eyes, and then some throw snowballs at their foe. For those keeping score, I once again have a reprint. This time, Marvel Masterworks presents the X-Men Volume 1. It collects the first 10 issues of the book, And I don't know if it's in print anymore, since I got this one from a used book section of a store. We open to Professor Xavier at his school. In the main study of an exclusive private school in New York's Westchester County, a strange, silent man sits motionless, brooding, alone with his indescribable thoughts. I wonder if I used Jell-O as a toothpaste, if I could turn my teeth green. Finally, his meditation comes to an end. Then, while he remains completely motionless, a sharp, commanding thought rings out, echoing through the great halls of the building. Has anyone seen the TV remote? I fell asleep and now it's not here. Professor Xavier calls the X-Men to him to announce that class is in session. 4 X-Men all appear and loudly announce that they're there. Strangest of all is Iceman, who apparently swings down on a pole of ice. That appears from absolutely nowhere. Was he just in the room the whole time and he's just spinning around on it for kicks? Speaking of kicks, if the rest of his body is ice and snow, why the hell is he wearing boots? Come on, Angel! Let's tilt the professor's chair back and make him more comfortable. With pleasure, Cyclops, old man. We want the professor comfortable while he puts us through our paces. Wow! I can't even begin to quantify how creepy this panel is. I mean, what, they're attending on the immensely powerful psychic without him even asking? I mean, tilting his chair back and adjusting his blanket? Maybe the X-Men aren't so much a superhero team as much as assisted living attendants. Iceman wants to show Beast a new trick with his frosting power, which basically consists of putting snow on his arms. Real useful there, Iceman. Your future career as a flocking gun is assured. Beast is pissed about it, but Angel stops them before they can get into a fight. Hold it, lads! No fighting during class, remember? Severely irritating your classmates is fine, though. By the way, was Professor X just sitting in a completely empty room except for the chair? I only ask because the room always looks empty no matter what angle we see it from, and he suddenly commands them to start their lessons, and a big computer console and other equipment just appear out of nowhere. Allow me to congratulate all of you. You are receiving my thoughts perfectly. Soon there will be no need for me to speak aloud to you at all. My telepathy will ensure that none of you has a moment's privacy. Beast begins his training. Excellent. Now spin around. Faster! Faster! Faster, damn you! Faster! Pretend an enemy is shooting at you. You must make yourself an impossible target. Damn, a big, blurry, spinning thing! I can't hope to hit that! So after Beast finishes his routine, it's Angel's turn. Now be sharp. Today we test your wing reflex. You dare not make a mistake. Geez, no wonder they pamper Professor X. Who knows what kind of screwed up stuff he does if they piss him off. Oh, he actually means that Angel needs to fly around a flame jet, crushers, spinning blades, and a sound concussion. Are these all in this tiny little room? And why the hell is he testing stuff this dangerous on them? I mean, yes, they are superheroes and all, but maybe you want to make them a little less lethal. Ah, Professor Xavier, I'm glad you could join us once again. We've been looking at these expense reports. Look, I can explain the Wheel of Death and the Chompers. I felt that my students needed more encouragement to do their homework. Actually, we were going to ask you about the vending machines and the nutrition of your students. Spinning Wheel of Death, you say? Iceman wants to know when he'll get his chance to brave the Chompers and the other tests, but the professor instead tells him to go along and play like a good little kid. Iceman then decides to imitate a snowman, because that's the surefire way to show that you're mature enough to have flame jets fired in your face. After a little test of his reflexes by throwing a bowling ball at him, Cyclops is left. Assume the Beast and Iceman are your enemies. Put them out of action without causing serious injury. Cyclops proceeds to blast Beast so hard that he becomes embedded in the wall and his skin fried.
You are roasted, toasted, and burnt to a crisp.
Iceman shields himself in a big ice cube. Naturally, Cyclops just shoots through it. Xavier tells them to start beating up Cyclops for a few minutes, such a wise and noble teacher, before finally telling them to cut it out. And now I shall return to normal speech communication. Dear Lord, Xavier, you were weird in the 60s. You may be interested to learn that at this very moment, I sense a taxi approaching our main gate. Within that vehicle is a new pupil, a most attractive young lady. You're right, sir. Wow, she's a real living doll. A redhead! Look at that face! And the rest of her! This is one seriously screwed up school. Turns out the new student is Jean Grey. What kind of school is this, sir? I have a right to know. I think you already suspect, Miss Grey. You see, I can read your thoughts quite clearly, and I know all about your unusual talent. Does the concept of privacy even begin to enter your bald, oversized head, you weirdo? Professor X introduces her to the only 4 other students in the entire school. Yes, I'm serious. And vice versa. This is Miss Jean Grey. She will be known as Marvel Girl. And no, she doesn't get a choice in the matter. Oh yeah, and it turns out Cyclops' real name isn't Scott Summers, but Slim Summers. Oh yeah, and everybody is acting like a horny jackrabbit around her. Jean Grey demonstrates her powers by telekinetically moving a chair and a book around. Now I must admit it's a pleasure to be able to practice teleportation openly, without fear of being discovered. Wait, she can teleport too? By the power of thought, I am able to move objects at will. Yeah, I guess in the 60s, given the etymology of the word, teleportation and telekinesis would be the same thing, but that's still really stupid. Professor Xavier explains the premise of the series, that mutants are mistrusted by normal humans. Really, why? And he established the school to benefit all of mankind. Xavier leaves to let them all get acquainted, which is naturally the signal for Beast to start pawing her. Jean uses her teleportation to spin him around and toss him onto a couch. Despite saying he was going to leave, Xavier is still around and exposits further about how there are evil mutants who want to dominate the world. Conveniently, we then switch to Magneto, making a nefarious scheme to, well, dominate the world. Some sort of rocket is being launched and Magneto, in a show of power, uses his powerful mastery of magnetism to cause the rocket to lose altitude and drop into the sea. We get a brief scene of a newspaper reporting the incident. 6th top secret launching fails at sea. If it's top secret, then how does the newspaper know about it? Magneto, continuing to use his powers, takes control of machine guns and tanks to terrorize military bases. Run! The tank is moving by itself! Oh god, it's Killdozer all over again! General, look! Above us! In the sky! It's Superman, sir! He'll save us! Oh, he's busy terrorizing lobbyists. Never mind, sir. Magneto takes control of the dust particles in the air, which I guess are metal now, and forms them into a message to the base, ordering their surrender. I especially love how he signed his name in cursive like that, like he was writing a formal letter or something. Magneto? Who? What is Magneto?
I don't know, soldier, but he's got damn fine penmanship.
Anyway, Magneto shows up at the base and, of course, everyone tries to shoot him, but the guns don't work and he just walks through the men. Now I'll merely alter my magnetic waves from positive to negative, so they will repel anything that comes within range.
And if your hands were metal, that would mean something.
Meanwhile, back at the Xavier Institute of Maiming and Leering, Jean Grey is putting on her Marvel Girl costume. Naturally, the men were spying on her and making perverted remarks. Professor X calls them in to alert them of Magneto's attack on the base. A crisis has occurred at Cape Citadel, which leads me to believe the first of the evil mutants has made his appearance. This will be your baptism of fire. Wait, what? This will be your baptism of fire. Okay, admittedly, upon doing some research, the phrase refers to a soldier's first experience in battle, but was this in the brochure? Xavier's School for the Gifted. Let them experience a baptism of fire? The X-Men suit up and head out in a jet. You mean the professor is guiding this plane from the ground? By thought impulses? It's unbelievable! Yes it is. His powers do not work like that. Anyway, the X-Men arrive and offer their services to the military trying to break in. Cyclops negotiates with the General to give his team 15 minutes to head in and stop Magneto. Iceman breezes past some soldiers, half freezing them to death, Beast plays leapfrog on a soldier, and Marvel Girl telekinetically shoves soldiers aside so she can get in. Maybe if Professor X taught classes on how to not be complete assholes instead of flying through the wheel of death, mutant-human relations would be a lot better. Cyclops uses his laser eyes to get through Magneto's magnetic shield. I'm getting through! That's what was needed. A natural counterforce to batter the unnatural magnetic field. I'll just pretend that that was in some way scientific and just move on. And now I'll switch to maximum power! Oh, could it be? Why, yes, we are experiencing powerhouse excitement! Anyway, yeah, they get through the field, though Cyclops knocked himself out with the full force of his blasts. Magneto releases 5 interceptor missiles that he says will track them by body heat. Why exactly they tracked their body heat, not anyone else's, or how he thinks that they all won't go for the same target is left up to our imagination, I guess. Angel manages to dodge the missiles, and Iceman uses his powers to ice up the missiles and drop them to the ground. I still think this would cause them to explode, but what do I know? Angel tries going right for Magneto, but he uses every metallic object in the area to slow him down. Cyclops blasts through the debris, and Magneto sends a flaming tanker of rocket fuel at them. Now, I wanted to critique this, but I got mixed responses on Twitter when I asked about it. Most people said the tanker would indeed explode, but it was varying opinions about what was actually causing the explosion and how long it would take for it to explode. So, once again, a classic comic manages to get away with this. However, I still say Iceman probably could have put out the flames instead of what they do to protect themselves, which is to wrap themselves in a nice big snow and ice shield from the explosion. Well, at least they won't be hot when they incinerate. Wait. Magneto thinks they're dead, but the X-Men quickly emerge from underground, Cyclops having apparently created a tunnel for them with his energy beams. Yeah, we'll just pretend that he had enough time to do that before everything exploded, or that the tunnel would protect them somehow. Magneto flies away and creates a magnetic force field to keep them back. They eventually breach it, but Magneto's long gone by the time they do. The X-Men return to the military and tell them that the base is theirs again. The General thanks Cyclops and tells him that the name of the X-Men will be revered for what they have done. Yeah, I'm sure the X-Men will never face prejudice for their actions and activities. And so our comic ends with the giant floating head of Professor Xavier in the clouds congratulating them on a job well done. Yeah, lots of stuff blew up, the villain got away, and many people are probably dead, but hey, could have been worse. This comic astounds me. The stuff with Magneto is actually really good superhero action, fighting the bad guy, etc., etc. The stuff at the mansion with the X-Men training or being creepy, however, is just awful and disturbing. Let us never speak of it again, except as callback jokes in future reviews. Oh, you want some more added creepiness to the whole thing? In a later issue, Professor Xavier admits to himself that he's as much of a horny idiot as the students, but he knows the wheelchair thing is a complete turnoff for Jean Grey. As though I could help worrying about the one I love, but I can never tell her. I have no right. Not while I'm the leader of the X-Men and confined to this wheelchair. And like so many problems, the solution is smoking. Jeez, I don't think I could take another week of origin stories after this one. Screw this! Next week, we're reviewing Brute Force. What's that? You wanted to know my secret origins for this month? Well, maybe some other time.